With BC is heated, intense, and antagonistic. Keys for Calgary's success tonight look like this.
Carry on, Kelvin. You got to get him the football more often. Running the ball, 22 carries in 2 games isn't enough. They got to get picture perfect. That's Alan Pitts. Just get him the football. You got a chance to win and be the survival of the physical battle here.
Survive. Last team standing wins this one tonight.
Absolutely.
Also the team with more points.
It's a barroom brawl here. McMahon.
Dickinson on the money for Alan Pitts.
Well, there, they heard us.
Yeah.
Get it to Alan Pitts. What a start he has had last week, he had 14,000 over that mark, and his 900th catch in the Canadian Football League happened to be the winner in overtime versus Winnipeg. Alan Pitts,
simply the best.
He is. He is the best all-time receiver in CFL history. He will catch Don Narcisse for receptions this year. He already has the yardage title.
Yeah, he needs 18 now after picking up that one, right, to catch Narcisse?
That's right.
On second down, this is Calvin Anderson, and he got away from the first tackler. He'll be close to a first down, should have it. He'll move the sticks, why not?
Well, that's another touch for Calvin Anderson. You got to get him involved. The team is undefeated when Calvin Anderson gets over 100 yards rushing in the time that he has been with the Stampeders. If he gets 100, they win. Simple as that.
4 carries, 16 yards for Anderson already. From the 34, first down Calgary. Anderson again. Lucky to get anything out of that at all. He looks to be trapped in the backfield.
Well, see, that's the sign of a great running back, though. He has been trapped a couple of times early in this game behind the line of scrimmage, but good running backs never let the first guy bring him down. And that time he gave Steve Anderson a little stiff arm, his old teammate, get out of the way. And that's what he's done since he's been a Calgary Stampeder. He doesn't know anything other than a 1,000-yard season. 74 consecutive games.
And back-to-back 13-yard seasons in 98 and 99. Second and 5. Aubrey Cummings makes the catch, and it'll be another Calgary first down.
Aubrey Cummings is developing into becoming a go-to guy for Dave Dickinson. Last week, had 6 receptions for 91 yards versus Winnipeg, and he hasn't ever had in his career that 100-yard game.
He's been closer than 91.
That's right. He's been very close, but hasn't got across that threshold for 100 yards. He just needs like 62 of them to catch his buddy Alan Pitts.
Well, yeah, it'll take him a year or two to do that.
Yeah.
Dickinson is hot, 5 for 5, 77 yards, and that nice touchdown march. Anderson, 6 carry.
Well, he's already more than halfway to what he's averaged over the last 2 games. So obviously that's the plan for George Cortez. Calvin Anderson will be more involved tonight.
Good for only 2 yards. It'll be second and 8. Longest is 5 yards for Anderson thus far. 3:01 to go.
25 a quarter, 4 quarters, 100 yards.
This is the opening quarter. From the 50. Dickinson looking deeper. There's a flag down. Reception is made by Alan Pitts in front of Derek Lewis, and we'll go back and find the infraction.
The question is always asked of me, why is Alan Pitts so good?
Well, he's tall.
He's a big target.
Calgary, number 83, second down, repeat it.
Travis Moore got a quick start there.
He's a big target, obviously has tremendous hands. Very good speed, deceptive speed. Because he's such a big target, you don't think that he's moving fast until he gets close to you, and then he blows right by you. But I think more importantly, he works as hard in the practice as he does on game day. And that's always the sign of the good players. They're always the guys that work the hardest. They're the last ones to leave the practice field, the first ones on it.
Penalty against the Stampeders spins this back to second and 13. Dickinson uses the screen to Calvin Anderson, and he'll be well short of the first down, so this drive will die right there. Anderson got 8 back.
What they were trying to do, John, is go on the little fake hitch screen and try and get Alan Pitts down the sideline. But Raphael Robinson was not fooled by the play, stayed right with Alan Pitts, so Dave Dickinson just had to dump it off, get what he could. What it was is the fake. You're going to see. Watch, see, there's a little pump fake. Alan Pitts with a little stutter step goes down the sideline, but see, Robinson wasn't fooled at all right with him, so Dickinson had to dump it off.
Tony Martino is in. Jimmy Cunningham is back. Nice punt. Cunningham. Chase back inside the 10. And wrapped up by the first man down, Aldi Henry. 3 yards on the return, 47-yard punt. 1st and 10 Lions when we return to McMahon. Back at McMahon, the Stamps lead the Lions 7-1. Third member of our team is Sherry Hargrave.
As you two have noticed, Vince Danielson is dressed tonight, but do not expect him to play a down of football. The all-star slot back is nursing a sore right hamstring, and the only way he'll get into this game is in an emergency situation. He admittedly says that he rushed it back last week, so he definitely re-injured it, but the prognosis is good. He expects to be back in the lineup and playing next week in Saskatchewan. Keep in mind, Danielson has only missed 4 games in his 7-year career.
All right, Sherry, a little early movement down there, so we'll re-rack and play the down over.
It's smart to Wally Buono to just have Vince Danielson rest on the sideline.
Number 62.
I mean, why force him back into the lineup when you have great depth at receiver with Aubrey Cummings? You got Mark Boerichter, who's really come on as a rookie, and Andre Arlane. So, smart move by Wally Buono, just have Vince Danielson rest this one out.
Well, he's got some pretty gifted receivers in backup roles, too.
Yeah.
Penalty against the Lions makes this 1st and 15.
Well,
Robert Drummond.
Speaking of running backs getting the football more, we talked about Kelvin Anderson. There's a guy who really needs to get going, and that's Robert Drummond in the running game. Now, the BC Lions have always had to come back this year. In both games this season, they've come from behind, so they've had to throw the ball more, but 26 carries, he hasn't had 100 yards in 2 games combined yet.
I guess the other interesting note, though, is his rushing average from scrimmage is only 3.9, and that is not a Robert Drummond figure either.
No, not at all. And, you know, he has been involved in the passing game, and they have had to come back.
Allen to the far side as an open receiver. Adams made the catch in front of Kellogg.
You see how Damon Allen just strong-armed that football out of there? Mike Adams was his last target. He wanted to go to the left side. See him looking to the left, his left. Can't find anybody open. Good coverage over there, but watch the strong arm. That was just a flick of the wrist.
Almost sidearm.
It was a sidearm flick of the wrist to the sideline.
1st and 10 Lions from their own.
And up for the BC first down to keep this march moving. Allen pump fake. And just about had it set up perfectly. Rocky Henry was the target, and they couldn't quite connect.
Well, he was the target in more ways than one. He was going down the seam. He was Damon Allen's target, but he was also Greg Frere's target. Watch for the left of your screen. Greg Frere's number 12 coming across. He's got the bullseye right on Rocky Henry's shirt. Whoa, he just got underneath the hit. He's the target, all right. Great start for Greg Frere's. Couple of interceptions, one for a touchdown.
Yeah, that was week 1.
Yeah.
Big win for the Stampeders over the Eskimos that week. 2nd and 10. Allen to the far side. Missed Henry that time.
Well, it didn't look like Rocky Henry came out of his break full speed. Kind of turned around, slowed down, and the ball was thrown to the sideline.
That's the end of the opening quarter. Stampeders have a 7-1 lead on the BC Lions here at McMahon.
The CFL live on TSN at the quarter.
Hey folks, James Duffy back with a trio that today tied the West Wing and the Sopranos for most Emmy nominations. Eric Tillman, Matt Dunnigan, and Chris Schultz. Congratulations to all 3 of you. And the guys talked a little bit, John and Glenn, about the rivalry between these 2 teams. We tend to focus a lot about the geographical rivalries in the CFL, the Battle of Alberta, the Battle of Ontario. Chris, this may be the most intense rivalry in the league right now.
And I'll give you a great point why. Because if you look at last year's football games, the 5 games that these 2 teams played, including the playoff game, and you look at the amount of points that Calgary scored, the amount of points that the BC Lions scored, the total is 96-96. It doesn't matter what happens in the first quarter. As this game progresses, BC will make some plays, and I think we're in for an outstanding game.
We've seen one in the first quarter, Chris, and I couldn't agree more that these two teams are very talented. On the offensive line, both can dominate the line of scrimmage. I look for the person or the team that goes out there and controls the trenches is going to win this football game. We saw in the first quarter where Calgary established Calvin Anderson. Got to touch the ball more often. We've heard Suits talk about that. Very important for Robert Drummond on the other side of the ball to establish a line of scrimmage behind his offensive line. If you can take heat off these quarterbacks, they'll be able to flourish more and utilize the talent around them and keep defenses off balance. This is going to be a key. Keep your eye on the war in the trenches.
Well, in the first quarter, there's no question, Matt, that Calgary's been in control. But the danger, I mean, the time of possession's, 2-1 Stamps. But the danger when you play the BC Lions is a guy by the name of Damon Allen. You can shut him down, and then he makes a big play. We found out firsthand last year in Toronto. We dominated the second game here in the Sky Dome, but the guy made 2 or 3 big plays that changed the game. So, yes, it's 7-1 Calgary, but they're going to have to get after Damon Allen, because if you don't shut him down, he can make a big play at any point that can completely change the game.
You mentioned your old team. They were in action tonight in Montreal, and get a strange sense of deja vu. 41-4 to go with 41-6. Mike Pringle moves into second place all-time in rushing, 148 on this night.
And back at McMahon, we're ready for quarter number 2 with the Stampeders on top by 6.
Interesting start to the first quarter for two teams that don't like each other much. Sort of like they're heavyweight boxers just throwing jabs right now.
Louis Pasaglia sails it to Coleman down near the 40. One nice move, and he's got about 9 on the return. Numbers thus far, really one drive by the Stampeders separating these two teams when you look at this.
Well, one drive and one play. The Travis Moore play was 44 yards. Dave Dickinson to Moore. That set up their touchdown. So 844 of that 85 passing yardage came on one play. But Dickinson off to a good start, 6 of 6.
And he's got to 5 different receivers, so he's spreading the ball around.
First and 10 to go, Calgary at the Stampeder 49.
First offensive sequence of the second quarter. Kelvin Anderson, the workhorse of the BC, or the Stampeder offense so far. Greg Mons has had a great run since becoming a head coach in the CFL, particularly against Calgary. Here's what he has to do to win tonight.
First of all, I think defensively they have to go after the quarterback. Dine on Dave. Zero sacks.
These up?
0 sacks. They have to win round 1. They haven't done that. They're down 7-1. You've got to come back there because they've come back in 2 games. And, again, be the survivor of a physical battle we should see here tonight.
Dickinson on first down, near side. Moore made the catch. Nice run afterwards. He's inside the 40 and grabbed there by Keith Franklin. 21 yards to gain for Travis Moore.
The reason Travis Moore made that catch is because he came back to the football. Watch to the left of your screen, little shoulder fake. See how he keeps coming back? Kept coming back and created separation between him and Marcelo Simmons. He didn't just sit there and wait for the ball to come to him. He went back to get the football.
Nice night going for Travis Moore. 2 for 65, and the 45-yarder set up the touchdown, or the 44-yard catch. Dickinson rolling right, far side. Can't connect with Aubrey Cummings.
It looks to me that the Calgary offense is picking a little bit on Marcelo Simmons. That's about the 3rd play in a row that Dave Dickinson has gone after the stinger in the Lion defense. Now, George Cortez, generally speaking, does not pick on personnel. He'll just run his game plan and hope that Dave Dickinson throws the ball where the read takes him. But it looks to me like Marcelo Simmons might be a bit of a target tonight.
Stampeders at the BC 38. 2nd and 10. Dickinson has to get out of there.
Oh, he's
Nice effort. He grabs about a yard.
He's hurt. He's limping. He took off running, and he started limping and went right down. Here's the pressure. He got pressure from his front side right there. Looks like Marvin Thomas coming over the top. Watch him limp right there, he starts limping. See his face? See the pain in his face? He grabbed the right hamstring. Where was the grassy knoll? He went down in a hurry.
Here's Mark McLaughlin. Perfect so far this season. CFL Special Teams Player of the Week, McLaughlin. 19 points against Winnipeg last week. This a long one, and he's got it. Mark McLaughlin nails the long shots. Stampeders pad the lead, but there's concern about their starting quarterback. Injured on the last sequence. It looks like a hamstring problem, and that will likely mean that Troy Kopp takes a sequence or two here. At least, at the very least. Damon Allen, meantime, 1st and 10 for the Lions. After the field goal, Robert Drummond fights hard for 5.
Well, Dave Dickinson, they're going to talk to him. Pat Clayton, the trainer, was down there talking to Dickinson. They're going to wrap up the hamstring. It looks like it's high on his leg. See if he can't go with it. Dave Dickinson last year in the first game versus the BC Lions separated his shoulder and missed some games.
Tough on him having a very hot start tonight. Good on 7 of 8. Second and 5 for the Lions out at the 40 now. BC trailing by 9. Early movements, and they won't get the play away.
Looked like Jamie Terrace jumped out of his stance. Once you put your hand down, an offensive lineman puts your hand down on the turf, you can't pick it up again.
Second down.
Once it's down there, it's got to stay down there until the snap of the ball. Jamie Terrace lifted up his hand. What a season he had last year. Had to slide over to center. Scott Hendrickson went down, and Terrace did a nice job at center. In fact, he's on the podium.
Oh, yeah, and he won all Canadian honors.
Yep.
Hendrickson is back, and so Terrace is back at his guard position. Second and a bunch for the Lions over the middle, short of a first down. Don Blair made the catch.
What an ordeal Don Blair has had to go through over the last month. Went in for an emergency appendectomy. Had complications from that. His stomach had an abscess in it. He had to go back in the hospital, lost upwards of 25 pounds, and his gallbladder shut down. That kept him in for a few more weeks. It was a very, very tough experience for Don Blair, just back in the lineup for his first game of the year.
Lions come up short again. So Pasaglia is in, and Coleman is ready to return. Not deep, decently high. Coleman, nice burst of speed. He's out near the 40. 13 yards on the return. Dickinson looks like he's heading back out there. It's CFL Live from McMahon. Dave Dickinson back on the field, and we're a little surprised, Sherry.
Well, Dickinson went right over to the team doctors and talked to them, and he motioned that it's really, really, really high up on his groin of his push-off leg, which is his right leg, and they wrapped it up with a tensor, and Troy Kopp started to warm up. Kopp came over to Dickinson. Dickinson says, "No way, man, I'm staying in."
And here he goes, right on the money to Alan Pitts. He couldn't bring it in.
Well, we'll see.
He doesn't drop many of those.
Well, yeah, we got to see how this is affecting Dave Dickinson in his throwing motion. Pitts, that ball looked like it floated a bit on Dickinson as Pitts came across the middle because he was wide open. But it looked like the ball floated, and he really didn't get any zip on it. Watch Pitts come across the middle. Now, he's open there. See, that ball was kind of out front and floating a little bit.
Catchable, though.
Absolutely, but I'm just wanting to see how Dave Dickinson's going to react because it's on his right leg, which is his push-off leg, like Sherry mentioned, and you got to push off. You can't put as much pressure on it. You're going to take some zip off the football.
Second and 10, Dickinson, shotgun. Time to throw. And almost intercepted as he threw into heavy coverage. Mark Boerichter was the intended target, and Dickinson got hammered.
Oh, he just now is picking himself up off the turf. Steve Anderson, a former teammate, came across from the far side of the field and just nailed Dickinson as he threw this football. Watch this hit. Down he goes hard. Steve Anderson slamming him down there, and that took him a while to get up from that one.
Got sandwiched in there. Another Lion was breathing down his neck as well. Cunningham is deep for BC.
This will be the best field position that the BC Lions will start with the football.
Heads up.
Martino sails it away from Cunningham and high, bouncing near the 30. Now rolling out to the 35. Cunningham draws some flags.
Be no yards.
It will be. A little bit of a bounce down there that goes BC's favor. Damon Allen ready to get the Lions roaring here. Ahead on Sports Desk tonight, well, we've got it all. Pedro Martinez has a little problem. We'll find out what happened there. Tigers only one shot back. And they're in the water at the U.S. Women's Open.
Well, I've seen that shot before. I find putting weight on your back foot more when you're in the creek. It helps that shot.
Also, Argos Als highlights, Lions Stampeders post-game from here in the British Open round 1, of course. Allen, deep down the far side. Great catch.
What a catch by Mike Adams.
Mike Adams.
And you know what he did? He
had
made
to wait for it.
Well, he made a veteran move. His first year in the Canadian Football League. Has some NFL experience, but this is a veteran move. A very subtle little push in the back on Anthony Pryor. It looked like it may have been a deliberate throw behind from Damon Allen, deliberately throwing it to the back hip of Mike Adams so he can put the brakes on out there and come back for the ball. But when he did, just put his hand in the back of Anthony Pryor, give him a nice little
subtle little shove.
Yeah. Let him go on by. What did Tom Cruise say? I'm going to slam on the brakes and let him fly on by me.
29 yards for the Lions. Biggest play of the night for BC. Here's another one. Blair, the target. Tight coverage by the Calgary Stampeders, Eddie Davis.
Don Blair has to get dressed again. Undressed by Eddie Davis as he was trying to run that corner pattern. Eddie Davis had a tremendous training camp. Coming back off knee surgery from a year ago. Was the best player on defense in camp, according to Wally Buono, and was in tight coverage.
Wally really likes this guy.
Yeah, and he loves the way he's responded because you're never sure when you're coming back from a knee or a serious injury how you're going to approach the next season mentally. Eddie Davis had a great camp, and Wally loves it.
2nd and 10.
Here they come.
Allen from the shotgun. Charges on. Allen far side. Tipped away at the last possible second. Anthony Pryor stepped in front of that one. He got a little even, didn't he?
Well, here's what happened, though. Remember we talked about Travis Moore came back to the football? Mike Adams waited for the football, and that gave Anthony Pryor a chance to come back. And Damon Allen walked right up to him afterwards and will tell him, you got to come back. Watch, the ball's in the air. Mike Adams is standing still, waiting for the football. If he takes 2 more steps backwards, see him standing there waiting? He takes another step towards the ball. He beats Pryor to the football.
Long field goal team is in. That means John Baker. Perfect so far. Louis Pasaglia kicks them from around 35 and in. Baker takes them out over 40 and 45. Nailed one for 60 in practice, and he's wide on this one.
And Baker is
his first miss of the new season.
Well, the game wasn't on the line. He had made 2 during the year. In Hamilton, it was to tie. Last week to win.
And this is only to get a little closer, so he misses. There's your score at CFL Live from McMahon. Little Adidas Friday Night Football theme music. We've got a doubleheader tomorrow night, beginning in Hamilton.
For 3 of those 4 teams, it's must win this early in the season.
And it's week 3.
Yeah.
Riders in Hamilton, and then we've got the Bombers at Commonwealth in Edmonton. So we'll head north bright and early tomorrow morning for Adidas Friday Night Football. 1st and 10, Stampeders, Dickinson. Out of the pocket, look to Pitts, flag goes down. Coverage a little too tight from Derek Lewis, I would guess.
Well, Bo Lewis is arguing the call. First of all, it looked like Dave Dickinson showed some mobility there. It looked like his hamstring was a little bit better on this series. Settled in a bit. He kind of moved the pocket to his left, although he is limping going back to the huddle. Secondly, it looked like Bo Lewis was unhappy with this call.
Forward pass interference. BC, number 17. First down, Calgary.
Doesn't really matter what Bo Lewis thinks.
Not? at all. It's what Ken Lazarick thinks.
Well, look at the movement by Dickinson. Looks like he got out there, threw that ball to the outside. A little push in the back as I think Alan Pitts was going down. Just a little bit of a push in the back was where the penalty came.
1:05:86:07.
Just prior to that, he gave him a little bit of a two-hander.
Stampeders will take the yards, 1st and 10. Calvin Anderson has a couple.
A couple of yards up the middle.
Well, don't be surprised if Calvin Anderson has to block on the next play, or else they'll put him out in the receiving as a receiver. Look for the Lions to probably come after Dave Dickinson. He's limping. He doesn't have quite as much mobility. They're going to send some pressure on him, 2nd and long.
Western All-Star in 1999, Calvin Anderson. Tough to be an All-Canadian with Mike Pringle in the league and you're a running back, isn't it? Dickinson. Look for Travis Moore.
Well, it didn't look like Travis Moore saw the ball coming. He kind of reacted late to it.
Number 3 comes up limping after the coverage.
Real nice play by Eric England to the left of your screen. Watch how he hurdles Calvin Anderson, who, like we mentioned, had to try and block him. See how Travis Moore kind of reacted late, almost like he lost the football because it went right through his hands.
Should be in the stadium lights or a setting sun here.
Marcelo Simmons is slow to get up. He's standing right in the middle of the field. And
on the coverage is down, number 3.
Lions already having to patch up that secondary with Eric Carter out back in Vancouver.
Tony Martino, 1,000% passer in the CFL this season.
There's Marcelo. Yeah, him and Alan Pitts both 100%. Yeah, there's Marcelo Simmons. He's the injured Lion on the play. So they have Ian Franklin also dressed. He's a defensive back that can move into the lineup, and Mike Crum.
Martino faked a field goal last week and connected for a 20-yard first down with Aldi Henry. Or faked a punt, I should say.
Yeah, fake punt. 20-yard at Aldi Henry. And, of course, Alan Pitts. And I asked Pitts about that throw in week 1. He threw to Dickinson for a touchdown. And I asked Dave Dickinson about it. And Dave said, yeah, he keeps bugging me about his percentage being better than mine.
Way better.
Way better. 100% is pretty good.
Yeah. Jimmy Cunningham back near his 15. Mike Adams alongside. Here's Martino.
Uh-oh.
Close snap. No problem.
Oh, he cranked it.
Cunningham chased back to the 5. There's a flag down on the return. An illegal block detected. And another flag. Might be a face mask there. So 10 yards on the return. A 53-yard punt. We'll sort it all out when we return to McMahon. Damon Allen has to get the Lions moving anytime now. He's only hitting on 40% of his passes for 57 yards.
Well, the play you run down here when you got a penalty, Raphael Ball got the illegal block, you just throw it deep.
Lions' first 5 possessions, 4 punts, and that missed field goal. So the offense is slow to get on track tonight. And with penalties, they'll begin inside the 5. Well, another flag comes down.
I don't think Damon got the play off in time. You know, the good news for BC fans is that it's only half the distance. It's only going to be a 1-yard penalty.
It doesn't hurt very much at all, except, well, it'll kind of mean 12 yards necessary for a first down.
Yeah. And like I said, a lot of times you see that crowd, this sellout crowd, and McMahon is becoming a factor. We talked about him getting behind, being that 13th player. Well, Greg Mons has to deal with it now. They're going to move the ball to the other hash. Damon Allen has that, but he's trying to call plays and audible with this crowd going crazy behind him. Makes it awful difficult. You can barely hear yourself talk, let alone have the other players hear you talk.
They were expecting a near sellout, and that's what we would guess they have here tonight. Not very many empty seats anywhere at McMahon. On first down, Lions keep it on the ground, and Robert Drummond has only a couple.
He got the 2 back they lost on the penalty.
Noisy little stadium.
Well, they've done such a nice job in Calgary, and You know, the Stampeders throughout this season are going to play in front of crowds just like this one. Over 30,000. Football is the place to be in this city now.
And a nice evening for it here at McMahon, overlooking the foothills. 2nd and 9 for the Lions, trailing by 8. Allen looks to escape and then just fires it away. Took a hit from Alondra Johnson as he released it.
Now Robert Drummond is slow to get up in the end zone. Damon Allen had no targets downfield. This is called a coverage play. Downfield, there's no one to throw to. Look, he's got time there. Alondra Johnson tracks him down. That ball crosses the line of scrimmage, so it's not grounding. But
yeah, and a bit of a high tackle by Johnson there. Like he almost had him by the throat. Not the vision that Greg Mons had of the opening quarter.
You know what?
The opening half.
He hasn't had any field position in the first half of this game.
None at all. Does he give up a couple here? No, he'll kick it away. Nice punt by Pasaglia out near midfield. Coleman, great return for the Calgary Stampeders. There are flags down, and Coleman is inside the BC 40.
When we asked some denture wearers why they don't use an adhesive, they didn't have a whole lot to say.
I don't need it. My dentures fit fine, thanks. I've not had a problem in 15 years.
But then they tried Fix-It-It, and they couldn't say enough.
Makes them feel a lot more natural. I just plain forget I have them. They actually fit better.
That's because Fix-It-It gives even well-fitting dentures a better fit.
It just proves you never know until you try.
Fix-It-It and forget it.
An illegal block on the return by the Stampeders sets Calgary up at the 54. Nice play-action fake. Dwayne Ford, first down, Stampeders.
Oh, he delivered there.
He is a load to bring down. Derek Lewis, right into number 34.
Now some of the haymakers are coming. They were jabbing for a quarter and a half. Jab, jab, two heavyweights. Now some of the haymakers, and they're talking about it. Dwayne Ford delivered a blow when he saw the defensive back, Bo Lewis, coming up to tackle him. There'll be no running out of bounds for this guy. Watch that. I'm going after you. Oh, now the hitting begins.
19 yards.
Here they go.
For Dwayne Ford at the expense of Derek Lewis. First down, Stampeders out the BC 37. Shotgun. Dickinson gets a little heat, releases. Bo Richter, and he is inside the 15. Mark Bo Richter.
This is what playing physical will do to you. Dwayne Ford delivers on Bo Lewis. Bo Lewis is the guy that's supposed to cover Mark Bo Richter on the very next play. He's still trying to shake off the hit from Dwayne Ford. See, watch Derek Lewis. See, number 17, he's in chase on Mark Bo Richter. There he is right there in the middle. Look at the space that they've got. And he stumbles and falls. He's still trying to shake off that hit from Dwayne Ford. That's what playing physical gives you.
He is big, and he is fast, and he has super hands. Mark Bo Richter picks up 23. The Stampeder drive continues. Dickinson playing hurt. Touchdown toss. Andre Arlane. First touchdown of the year.
Yeah, they love it. And he loves it. He was really looking forward to this game. Getting a chance to play with Vince Danielson injured. Andre Arlane will be that extra receiver coming in oftentimes.
And there's that horse called Blue.
There's a couple of touchdowns now. Blue has been able to do his lap. Dickinson looks like he's over that little hamstring problem he had early. Puts that one right on the money, and Andre Arlane just falls into the end zone. You know, I saw Blue warming up about 2 hours before game time. You think he had, like, pony intuition or something? He knew this was going to be a high-scoring game or something?
Well, on top of Blue, as usual, is Karen Drake. And the Stampeders are on a nice little roll. In the opening half at McMahon, Andre Arlane has his first touchdown of 2000. Old Blue is fired up and ready to go tonight. Better start for the Stampeders than last week in Winnipeg when Calgary was down by 15 points at halftime to the Blue Bombers. Currently up by 15. A little bit surprising against this BC Lion team. The offense really hasn't done anything.
No, they haven't got out of their own end, and that's been a problem for BC Lions. Wally Buono's got good play out of his special teams. Their coverage teams are getting down there, and that's causing the BC offense to start from holes. They've started from drives on their own 3, their own 13 in the first half, barely getting over the 35-yard line, so they've had to try and win some of that field position back.
Joe Powell will figure that out this next sequence, if not at halftime. Here's Jimmy Cunningham, and the Jet is grounded out near the 32.
See, again, the good coverage teams for the Calgary Stampeders keeping Jimmy the Jet inside of the 35-yard line. You want to get out past 35, and Damian Allen has had to start in a hole.
Hey, you guys sit up here, section out on the bullshit.
Needs 244 yards passing per game to become the all-time leading passer Canadian Football League history and pass Ron Lancaster.
Lancaster in 18 seasons threw for 50,535 yards. Allen in his 16th season now should catch him by the end of the year. Sean Millington.
Passes off for number 25.
And that's a little more effective with Millington swinging out of the backfield.
Well, he's got off to a great start to the season. Damon Allen with back-to-back 300-plus passing games, and that's where he sits all time, a record that many thought would never be broken, Ron Lancaster's 50,000 yards passing. You know, from a quarterback who everyone thinks of as a runner.
And Damon wants to play another couple of years, maybe even 3. Tough running inside on second down and a couple necessary.
The Calgary Stampeders this year are so much better up front. I mean, Steve Anderson, last year, 4 sacks, moves to the BC Lions. He was one of their best defensive linemen. But with the addition of Joe Fleming and Shante Peoples in that defensive line, it has really given the Calgary Stampeders 2 dominant pass rushers. And Joe Fleming, in the first 2 weeks, just could not be blocked.
Yeah, he's very intense. And easily the best acquisition the Stampeders made for the new season.
And they've held them short. Part of the reason is the play of that guy up front on that line. He's just not allowing any running lanes for the BC running backs. 2 sacks already this year. Last year, this team had 31 sacks, which ranked last in the CFL. This year, they have 8 already in 2 weeks. Shante Peoples and Joe Fleming have half of them. They're on pace for 72.
It's a little early to start the pace thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little early, but they're off to a great start. The Lions are going to go for it.
Yeah, this is a big chance for the Lions here. 3rd and a full yard necessary, but Damon's at the controls, and he just follows Scott Hendrickson in for the first down.
Offensive coordinator, assistant head coach Joe Powell has had a chance to work with some pretty good quarterbacks throughout his career as an offensive coordinator. You think about Damon Allen. He's worked with Doug Flutie, worked with Kerwin Bell. He's worked with Ken Austin and Danny McManus.
First down. Allen looking deep, and no one is home. That's Coleman on the return for Calgary. Cunningham over to make the tackle. And Jason Crum was over to pin him as well, but an easy interception for Marvin Coleman. This one was a gift. It ended up right in his mitts.
It looked like there was a miscommunication between Don Blair, who's in the lineup for the first time this year, and Damon Allen. He threw the deep ball in the corner. You see Don Blair stop there right around the center mark. Joe Fleming talked about him. He comes on the stunt. That's what he says to Damon Allen. Hello. So Damon Allen has to watch an interception from his back. It's miscommunication down there. Don Blair has not had a lot of reps in this lineup.
Less than 2 minutes to go till halftime. Stampeders have a chance to add more points. Dickinson was injured earlier, but he's hung in. And that is the first sack of the year for the BC Lions. Noah Cantor will get it.
Well, a couple of firsts for the BC Lions. First of all, the first interception thrown by Damon Allen. He was the only quarterback heading into this game that hadn't thrown an interception, so he's got a blemish in that category. And that for Don Lindsay, the defensive coordinator, the first sack for their defense in the year 2000, and Noah Cantor gets it. Dickinson had time initially, and again, that was coverage that helped Noah Cantor get there.
2nd and 14, Calgary.
Loss of 4. This will be 2nd and 14 for the Stampeders.
Dickinson didn't like what he saw on defense, and he called a timeout.
Might as well. It's his lead, and 1:20 on the clock unofficially. Stamps have a 15-point advantage in the BC Lions. Hanging at the half, the guys are ready, and they didn't get much work in the pregame show. In fact, very little.
Talking about breathing fire, they're going to be breathing fire for halftime.
They'll be fired up. Tillman, Dunnigan, Schultz, and Duffy. It's a wonderful-looking group, isn't it?
Yeah, the cushiest job in the world right there. Sitting in the booth. They love it.
There's no huddle here, right? So D-line, slow it down. There.
They'll look at the other game in the CFL tonight as well as this one. 2nd and 14, Stampeders. Time ticking down in the first half. Here comes the heat. Dickinson evades the first rush and then fires too far. He threw it away. Travis Moore threw it away. And there were a couple of Stampeder receivers wide open on the other side of the field.
I think a healthy Dave Dickinson may have been able to throw that ball to Alan Pitts, who was wide open on the play, and I'm talking about wide open. Watch Dickinson now. Here comes Alan Pitts down the field. Watch this. He's dropped there by Raphael Ball. As he keeps going, watch this. On the outside is Bo Richter wide open, and look at Pitts wide open. But Dickinson had got flushed back and is not 100% healthy. Just couldn't throw the ball that far, I don't think.
Cunningham back near the BC 10. Martino at the Stampeder 40. Lions could really use a return here. Mike Adams for 10. And 1:03 to go till halftime. Can Damon Allen work a little magic here and get the Lions at least a field goal?
Well, he really needs to. I think they've got to get some momentum, so I think that Damon Allen has got to get that hurry-up offense on the field, call the plays on the line of scrimmage, and see if he can't come away with some points, maybe steal some momentum going in at halftime.
On Damon-like numbers right there.
Well, this is an important drive because there's plenty of time to move down the field, although that Calgary defense playing pretty well right now.
Particularly up front, I'd say.
1st and 10 from the Lions 29.
Allen from the 29, play action fake, has Sean Millington.
Number 25, Sean Millington.
We're starting to see a lot more plays like this from the Lions, little dump passes, little screens to Millington. That's one way to slow down the pressure up front.
And Drummond hasn't been in for the last couple of sequences. So Millington is the ball carrier in this offense with a 5-receiver set. Allen over the middle. Don Blair couldn't hang on.
Johnny Blair, the intended
Catchable. It was there.
Absolutely.
Eddie Davis was covering, and Blair simply let it get away.
He was tested out thoroughly this week to see if he was healthy enough to play. He does get some separation on the crossing pattern, but just flat out drops the ball. Now Eddie Davis gave him a little bit of help.
Maybe he can't see out of that thing. The Darth Vader visor
Darth Vader look?
Yeah. Darkens things up a little bit. Nighttime football. Coleman is deep.
Well, you can be in shape in practice and not be in game shape, and Don Blair is probably trying to find his way right now.
6th punt of the night already for Louis Pasaglia, so the Lions have not moved the football. And there'll be no return for Coleman after a 35-yarder by Louis that time.
It's amazing when you're coming off a little bit of an injury, or in case of Don Blair, his complications to surgery, and you're running hard in practice, you feel pretty good about yourself, and then you get in the game and it feels like you got kicked right in the stomach, you're out of wind. Speaking of a guy that's been kicked around a little bit, Dave Dickinson.
Not exactly a steady gait there as he heads back to the huddle, but the numbers are pretty impressive, 10 of 15. And he had a very hot hand to begin with. He's fallen off a little bit since he injured his hamstring.
Yeah.
32 seconds to go. Stamps a couple of field goals or a couple of first downs away from a field goal try. They have some time, but Anderson can't get anywhere.
Calvin Anderson, number 32. Tackle immediately. 91 Herman Smith.
Well, Dave Dickinson is barely moving around. I mean, he gave that ball to Calvin Anderson and kind of hobbled out of the way. I talked to him before the game. I talked to him yesterday as well, and he was saying that he spent all week just trying to get healthy from the game in Winnipeg. They've really put some shots on him over there in Winnipeg in that overtime win, so rough start already, physically.
But he has the lead. Calvin Anderson will have enough for a first down. Now he'll be a little bit shy with penalty markers down. And only 3 seconds on the clock, so Stampeders are out of range here. Tough first half for the BC Lions offense in particular.
Another injury for BC as well. Can't see the number, but that was right where the pile was. Oh, it's Raphael Ball.
Yeah, that's his brother standing over, seeing how his kid brother is doing.
Crack back block.
Oh.
Calgary, number 87, third down.
Oh,
Aubrey Cummings, yeah.
He cracked back. He came from outside the box and came down and hit him low. And that's what he's explaining to him right now. He's trying to explain it that he didn't realize where he was coming from. See, there's Aubrey Cummings. See the crack back to the right of your screen right there? You got to be inside the box to be able to do that. And he came from way outside that receiver position. You can't go low if you do that.
So Raphael Ball heads to the sidelines. He's known as A-Ball, and his twin brother Raphael Ball, known as O-Ball, is 2 minutes older. They are twins.
Yeah, and that's the kind of hit that you can take that you can't see it coming. It's low in your knees, and that's the kind that can put you out for the year. Just hope that Raphael Ball will be okay. Aubrey Cummings is not a dirty player. But we've mentioned it a few times. These teams don't like each other.
Not much at all. This will be the last play of the half, barring a penalty. And more discussion down there with 3 seconds on the clock. Let's get this over with. Hang in at the half. The guys are ready and fired up. Lots to talk about in this one, and week 3 in the CFL. One other game today with Montreal hosting Toronto.
George, you might pop this one.
So this will be the last play of the half.
Going to Calvin Anderson.
And Anderson ran right into Eric England, and that'll be the first half at McMahon. Stampeders off to a hot start. And the BC Lions offense fizzled. Greg Mons will try and make adjustments at the half.
The CFL live on TSN at the half.
Yes, we can't stress enough how difficult a place to play McMahon Stadium is. Calgary only lost 12 games at home in the entire 1990s, just over 1 per season, and they're showing it again tonight. Now, we talked during the game and at the quarter about how close these teams were. Well, this wasn't close at all. This was a stamp stomping.
Oh, it's been a first half of dominance by Calgary. And in talking to George Cortez this week, he was very, very confident that they could move the ball effectively on this BC defense. After all, they did it in preseason, and last week, if you remember, Saskatchewan threw the ball with relative ease. BC came into this game with Eric Carter out in the first half. They've now had 2 defensive backs go down in Ball and Simmons, and it sure doesn't look good for the second half, Chris.
Eric, if you have 2 football teams that are equal in talent, the difference is how the individual player, how he prepares himself emotionally. What I see with the Calgary Stampeders, they have that wonderful emotion of urgency, that positive anxiety, and you know what? It gets passed from player to player to player. They were ready to play in this football game. Matty, it's evident in the score.
Well, I think so, but this game is a game of momentum and a game of adjustments. And what we're seeing right now is Calgary's taking the momentum, and they've made more adjustments in the first and second quarter. But we've got 2 of the best at halftime in the locker room talking to the players right now, and Joe Powell and George Cortez. Look for these guys to come out with some adjustments, and we're going to see some more offense in the second half. And you know, as a quarterback, James, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm sure you are, my friend. And remember what happened week 1 between BC and Hamilton? They were down 20-3 and came all the way back. Andre Arlane will never forget that moment. His first ever CFL TD. His Stamps in control.
Shot lead after firing a 66 today. So the British Open ahead on TSN tomorrow. Here's Robert Drummond back in the game after missing a few offensive sets late in the first half. So there's Ernie on top. Tiger is right there with Steve Flesch. Mike Weir +3 with a 75.
Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike.
The Open, as they call it over there.
Oh, Canada. Nice
the
guy,
British
Mike
Open.
Weir.
Yeah, British Open, it's referred to just about everywhere else in the world. But when you talk about the Open, that's at the old course. It is just the Open. Allen tried to connect with Jason Crum. Tight coverage on Crum, and the pass was a little low. Allen paid the price.
Oh, well, he had to throw that football on time, and coverage for the Calgary Stampeders knew it. It was Marvin Coleman that broke on the football, but watch how Damon Allen has to throw the ball right now. Why? 76 is right in his face. Joe Fleming. We talked about him, how dominant he's been. Playing with a bit of an injured knee. You sure can't tell.
Louis had a nice night.
A busy night for Louis. A lot of punting.
Coleman returning for the Stampeders, looking for a lane to the right side. Has a couple of blockers in front. Turned the corner, and great field position set up for the Calgary Stampeders out near the 50. Marvin Coleman. Well, what are you writing about this week? You can see what Mr. Suter has to say.
We're writing a little bit about John Heward last week. This week it's Greg Mons and his talk with the officials last week.
There you go. Check what Glenn has to say on the internet, www.tsn.ca/CFL. Interesting week.
Yep, fined by the league. It wasn't the $5,000 everyone was talking about, but
he will not divulge how much it was.
Had some interesting comments about the officiating.
Dickinson looked for Pitts. And he was covered very closely by Bo Lewis.
Yeah, you have to give Bo Lewis some credit. He took a big hit early in the game from Dwayne Ford, and he has done a pretty nice job right now on Alan Pitts in this football game. Little one-on-one coverage. There he is right there in your screen. Look at him. Just get in the hip of Alan Pitts. Pitts wants to make him look like he's going upfield and then break it to the out, but Bo Lewis is in. Not today, not in my house.
Yeah, I was here first. You've got to go around me.
And that is not easy to do. Bo Lewis made it look easy.
Second and 10.
Not against Pitts.
There's a strike and another Stampeder first down.
I think it came out.
No.
Yeah, I think it came out.
And again, Dickinson ran into Mr. Fleming.
Boy, Dave Dickinson just looking to the middle of that field. He just got that ball over David Benefield's hands. But they are really trying to attack the middle of the field. Watch David Benefield right here. He's going to see how he's just really shallow in his drop. The ball goes over his head and drops right in there. Really should have been a completed pass. Perfect touch pass by Dave Dickinson.
Martino is in, standing back at his 36. A one-hopper. Martino digs it out. Sails a pretty good kick away.
Boy, is he ever.
This is Jimmy Cunningham. Surrounded. He escaped somehow.
Oh, if he goes outside, he's still running, and he knows it.
Yeah, one move to the outside is all he needed for another 25 at least. The return covered 11. It's up to Damon to get the Lions roaring. They haven't done it so far tonight. First and 10 Stampeders. Kelvin Anderson.
Kelvin Anderson running high.
Only a couple there, maybe 3 yards.
Well, we talked about at the beginning of the game, Kelvin Anderson just 11 carries per game in the last 2. That we felt that Kelvin Anderson needed to touch the ball more for them to be successful. 15 carries, so he's above his average on the year. 55 yards, and the Calgary Stampeders have a lead.
Nearly 8 to go for Calgary.
And when Kelvin Anderson runs for 100, the Stampeders always win, correct?
He's done it 9 times in his career, and every time they've won the game.
Second and long. Dickinson has a target wide open. And that was a catchable ball. Alan Pitts does not drop them often.
You don't see that very often. You might want to rewind that one on the VCR and just make sure there was. I mean, yeah, that doesn't happen very often. And
All right, fans, the time you've been waiting for. The Safeway.
watch Alan Pitts. You just find the spot in the zone. He gets past Raphael Ball. He sees what kind of coverage it is, so he just gears it down. Now that ball took a while to get there, and you know what? He was looking up the hit from David Benefield. Benefield was coming out there. He took one peek at Benefield, and Benefield wears that eye black. So maybe that was a problem. He saw one peek inside it, and Benefield, whoa! It's kind of spooked him for a minute, and he dropped the football.
Cunningham awaits Tony Martino's kick. A big return here would go a long way to getting the Lions back in this one. It's a big kick by Martino. Back to the 10, Cunningham. Out to about the 20, 9 yards on the return, a 52-yard punt. It's time for the Lions to get going. They trail 18-2.
Hey, hi. Swipe your club card at Safeway for automatic $1 million touchdown to win entry. If your name appears, you won a trip for 2 to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. You'll fly Air Transat for an all-inclusive 7-night stay at Villa Veradero, all courtesy of World of Vacations. Swipe your club card at Safeway today.
When the Stampeders have been very special on special teams all night.
They really have. Look at the lanes. Every Calgary Stampeder in their lane creating a net around the jet. He's just averaging 5 yards on punt returns. He has not been able to break loose, and that's been a big part of this game. Field position that has hurt the Lions.
And again, the Lions begin deep in their own zone. First down at the 20. And flags everywhere. Damon has not been able to get on track tonight.
Yeah.
It's a couple for Chris Perez tonight.
Well, Chris Perez has been working primarily on Shante Peoples. Shante Peoples can get after it from the edge, and him and Joe Fleming work together, so that can get you a little jumpy sometimes.
Lions now looking at first and 15, back at the 15. And the drop play grabs a couple, and that's all.
How do you block Joe Fleming? That's my question. I mean, how do you block him? Because that time, he just, from his knees, made the tackle with one arm.
He's a load.
Well, watch this. Joe Fleming is tough to block. We've been saying it all game. It's Steve Harden gets his chance. Well, actually, it's Jamie Terrace. Look at this. Cut, can't get him, can't stop him. He's on his knees, makes the tackle.
6'3", 290.
Whoa.
And quick.
And the motor is always full bore, like my dad used to say.
Second and 13, Allen in trouble and wrapped up. Peoples got through that time.
Well, Robert Drummond was in a bind. Robert Drummond is the guy who had to come over there and pick up the safety blitz from Greg Frères, and when he moved to his left, he found himself with 2. He had Shante Peoples and he had Greg Frères. He had to make a decision. He picked Frères. See, watch to the left of your screen. Now watch. Here's where it's going to happen. Drummond's going to slide over. He sees the blitz coming. See right there. Here comes Frères. He's the first one, so he picks him up. People slips underneath.
Sunday Peoples, couple of sacks coming into this one tonight. Busaglia deep in his own end zone. Needs a rocket here, and this isn't his deepest of the night. Travis Moore, markers down, and Moore gives the Stampeders super field position at the BC 40, depending on what the flag is all about here.
Shop at Safeway. Swipe your...
Penalty against the Stampeders on the return means Dickinson begins near midfield with a pass to the near side. Almost a great catch. Arlane laid out for that one, couldn't quite bring it home.
Well, really, you know, the defense for the BC Lions, for the most part, have kept the Lions in it, because with the field position advantage that they've had, Don Lindsay can just see a 16-point deficit is not too bad considering the field position problems that they've had tonight.
No, the Stampeders haven't run away.
That's what I'm talking about.
And hidden on BC at this point. Stampeders have not been close to scoring in the second half. Dickinson picked up almost.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was horrible. Keith Franklin had the easiest interception in his career.
It doesn't come any easier than that. And we've seen two of those. I mean, Alan Pitts, he's going to drop right out of there. Watch, Alan Pitts dropped one earlier, something that never happens. Dave Dickinson just didn't see Franklin drop and threw it right to him. But you know what Franklin did? He looked over here. Just before he caught the ball, he looked to his left and thought, oh, I got a touchdown. Oh, baby, I've got a touchdown. Oh, wait a minute, I don't have the ball.
Oh, he's angry. And he should be steamed at himself.
Well, how much field position was lost by that drop?
Well, about 60 yards.
Well, yeah, they
40 anyway.
They're going to get the football back, but they lost
the 10.
a ton of yardage.
Would have been out near the 40. Martino sails this one, and Cunningham won't have a play.
Oh, man, 1 yard line. Now we're talking about probably 60, 70 yards of field position.
He nailed it 54 yards. No return for the BC Lions. Super job by Martino. Break here because the penalty
big break.
is
Huge
going
break
against the Calgary Stampeders, and Martino nailed it, putting it out about the 1 yard line.
Well, Martino's had to field a couple of low snaps throughout this game. It was another low snap, and I believe Benefield was coming up the middle and might have been held right in front of Martino, but it's a huge one because the Lions were pinned back on the 1 yard line. There's that eye pain I was talking about. Look at that. That's the one when Pitts dropped that one. That's what he was looking at. He was looking at that guy coming down. Yeah.
I wonder who puts that on for him.
He probably does that himself.
Yeah.
Look at that. Then you throw on the helmet. Yikes. Not the guy you want to meet in an alley.
Is he as effective in his new role back at linebacker than he was?
I don't think
year?
so at this point. But it's still early, and David Benefield was asked to move from rush end back into the middle of the defense. We talked about Dave Dickinson taking advantage of that in the passing game a little bit, throwing over the middle throughout this game tonight. It'll take some time for David Benefield to settle in as a linebacker. It's completely different than what he did last year. And that is not easy. It's like asking someone to become left-handed if they were right-handed all their life.
Yeah. And he was BC's top defender last year on a team with some pretty big name stars. Benefield was voted the #1 defensive player in British Columbia.
Well, the advantage of putting him at the linebacker spot is that now you can move him around and he can rush the quarterback from different positions, but you also have to ask him to cover. And that's what they've tried to exploit tonight in Calgary.
Lions get a break. They were coming. Martino got it away, goes down. There is no flag on that. Martino nailed another one. Lions get a little better field position near the 19. Martino went down, but there was no penalty marker. So the first punt was 54. The second one is 53 for Martino.
Basically just lost the penalty yardage.
Yeah.
Another real good punt by Martino. And again, Damon Allen has to start deep in his own end of the field.
We keep waiting for Allen to do something. The numbers are not impressive at all.
I don't necessarily think it's been Damon Allen's fault here tonight. You know, he hasn't been bang on the money in every throw, but I think that Don Blair's had some trouble getting back into the lineup and getting his feet under him. He's broke off a couple of patterns.
Shotgun for Allen. Tried to escape. Now found the jet.
Well, how did he get it out of there?
I don't know. I didn't see it. I didn't see the pass, to be really truthful.
Well, how did he get it out of there? And he is slow getting up. Well, he takes off up the middle. Little opening in the middle for him to try and get a couple of yards, but it closed in a hurry. Now I'm wondering how he got that football. It's a little side toss as he goes down underneath Ray Jacobs.
Positive yards for the Jet. Well, 12 yards.
You know, you need your best players to start making plays if you want to come back, and that's a play that Damon Allen did all by himself. Made something out of nothing.
On first down, Allen intercepted. Greg Frères, he's taking it to the house. Touchdown, Calgary. Second interception for a touchdown for Greg Frères. 45 yards this time.
Having a good year, a very good year. 2 touchdowns now, first 2 of his career. Good range and a good read from Greg Frères, but I don't believe Rocky Henry went and fought for the football. Very similar to the touchdown he scored against the Edmonton Eskimos in Week 1 at the opposite end of the field.
And that had touchdown written all over it.
Well, he took it on the dead fly, read it all the way, and when he took that football, he was on the dead fly heading downhill.
Stampeders are taking it to the Lions now. It's 25-2. Not much has worked for Damon Allen tonight.
Well, they're over there talking about it. Damon Allen, see, Frères is right here. Now watch how he reads it. Damon Allen is going to drop back. He's going to read his eyes. Frères to the right of your screen and then just break on the football. But Rocky Henry didn't come back underneath until way too late, and Frères coming downhill. Finds Peter. Yeah. Hey, you can make the paper. See the flash bulbs going off down there? I guess they're not flash bulbs anymore.
No, really not.
That was
technology has improved a little bit.
But
you see, we passed through the 90s.
Yes, we're in the
yeah.
Well, Greg, you know, it doesn't break my heart to see a safety leading the interception race either.
Well, yeah,
that's pretty nice.
And if the safety happened to play it, Simon Fraser.
All right. Way to go, Greg.
Lions try and regroup. Joe Pau'Pau trying to figure a way to penetrate this Stampeder defense in Calgary tonight.
Loser, the best comedy of the summer.
Let me try that one again.
No, man, that's cool. Don't worry about it. Loser is a real winner.
I'm way too wasted to be operating heavy machinery.
Take one for the team. Loser. Now playing in theaters everywhere.
McMahon Stadium in Calgary almost full. Tomorrow we'll have an Adidas Friday night football doubleheader beginning in Hamilton with the Rough Riders in town against the Ticats, and we'll move up to Commonwealth in Edmonton to watch the Blue Bombers and the Eskimos, 2 teams rather desperate for a win. Beginning at 7 o'clock Eastern.
Well, a chance to see the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, how they respond after pushing Calgary right to overtime last week. Really should have won the game, had a chance on a field goal to win it.
Here's Mike Adams looking for field position for the BC Lions. He's wrapped up again. Again, Stampeders special teams are doing a wonderful job tonight.
Well, and you wonder who's going to get the couch. Now,
well, the lazy boy.
The lazy boy. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Here's what the Stampeders do on special teams. They have a lazy boy in their special teams meeting, and the player of the game on special teams gets to go to the meetings and sit in the lazy boy. And the player of the year on special teams gets to take the lazy boy home.
And Andre Arlane was the player of the year last year, so he's got a lazy boy in his rec room, or maybe in the living room.
And last week, Andre Arlane was the player of the week, so he sat in the lazy boy all week to watch the meetings, and that's pretty nice. But they're going to have a tough choice to make because everyone on special teams for Calgary has played well tonight.
Another problem for the Lions offensively, and it is not the first time that they have had difficulty at the line.
They're flat. They're just not
Still first down.
in sync. They're not. It's just a flat-out execution problem on the part of the BC Lions. They're just, whether it be procedure calls, receivers breaking off patterns, or a guy by the name of Greg Ferris. It's just not working well.
Yeah. Well, a couple other guys by the name of Fleming and Peoples have had a lot to do with it too. Adams makes the catch. Valiantly tries to make first down yardage, but he's well short. It was 1st and 15.
Well, that's what you like to see. You like to see Mike Adams, even though they're way down, to keep fighting for that extra couple of yards. And he's fighting for a spot on the roster throughout the season. He's had a good start, and he's earned the right to be here. But Alfred Jackson, the veteran, is back in Vancouver and very close to returning to the lineup. So some tough decisions for the BC Lions, although when they watch this offensive game plan, they may want to make some switches.
Allen has to make a couple of big plays, and soon he one-hopped that for Don Blair.
Joe Fleming has been unbelievable in this game. And again, you don't see it in the sack totals, but we see it. In Joe Fleming, you can't block him. And we talked about his motor running all the time. Well, watch this play. Watch 76. Look at this. Motor's going. Full go. Let's go. Beats the block. Look at that.
Got a little help from Shondae Peoples there, too.
Peoples crawling along the ground. Look at this. Joe Fleming just saying, hello, better throw it. Get rid of it, because I'm coming. They work together on the strong side of the field. Shondae Peoples and Joe Fleming.
The Lions are going to hand the Stampeders good field position again. The Saglia's punt coming down near the 50. Travis Moore out across midfield. So again, Stampeders start on BC's side of the field. Dickinson limping a little bit, but he's come in and been fairly effective.
And you wonder when Dave Dickinson will take a seat on the bench, because he has been limping throughout the game since he hurt his hamstring. Troy Kopp will see some playing time before it's over, no question. But how long does Wally Buono go with his starting quarterback and risk him injuring that leg further, or coming up with another injury?
12 of 22, 183 yards. He really hasn't moved the football team a great deal in the second half. The defense has chipped in with one touchdown. But he's held onto the football and put a couple of play drives together. Kelvin Anderson around the corner and more than halfway to a first down. He's very close to 9 yards.
Pretty nice block at the point of attack by Aubrey Cummings.
It's all Calgary so far at McMahon Stadium as we kick off week 3. Calgary on top by a bunch.
The CFL live on TSN at the quarter.
James Duthie back with the guys who, according to Glenn Suter, have the cushiest job in TV. You should see Suter's job. He has like 8 personal assistants. Calgary's defense absolutely dominating this one. We had tons of evidence to choose from. Let us show you one of the many plays where they were all over the Lions and Damon Allen. Chris, they absolutely took over this football game.
Hey, Mike Roach, Jim Daly have done a great job in running combination player blitzes. Here you see Greg Ferris and Shondae Peoples working well together. In reality, Ferris becomes the contain, People becomes the rush. And it's more important that Peoples makes the hit because he's a bigger, stronger person, and he's going to provide more punishment. One of the reasons that Calgary's playing so good is they're picking some great defensive plays to offset what BC's done offensively, Matty.
Well, I think they're playing a slow death and putting a slow death on the BC Lions. Right now, they're playing field position smart football, taking advantage of the field position they've been getting. Tony Martino's been punting them in bad situations. We saw it in the second quarter. We see it in the third quarter. They're taking advantage of field position. And if two teams closely matched like this, it can be the difference, Eric.
Well, Matt, basically what we're seeing is a team that's playing well right now in all three areas. Offense, their defense is athletic and aggressive, and on special teams, you look at the corner kicks by Martino. Right now, Wally Buono has to love what he sees because they look like the team to beat in the West, James.
63 points in 2 games the Lions scored over their first 2 games. 2 measly, itsy-bitsy singles to show in this one. One other game in the CFL tonight, and it was ugly. 41-4, Als. 86-10. The Als win the 2-game series. Ugly. Browning and Pringle, huge games.
And here's the proof the Stampeders are dominating the Lions through 3 quarters.
Yeah, you're not going to win many games when you put 5 first downs on the board, 3 quarters.
No first downs for the Lions in the 3rd quarter. That tells a big part of the story, too.
Unbelievable. That pretty much tells us.
Yeah, I'm fairly surprised, to be truthful. I thought BC, the way they played the last couple of weeks, would come in here and move the football a little bit, but I think you really have to give an awful lot of credit to that Stampeder defense. And we've mentioned most of the names, but number 76, number 56, and the safety, Greg Frears, with a 45-yard return for a touchdown. Kelvin Anderson doesn't get it that time. That's Dwayne Ford. This is Canada's Grey Cup City for 2000, and it's going to be a party because they usually throw a pretty good party here.
Well, apparently the ticket sales are going great already. It's 3 weeks into the season. They're over 60% sold.
And there's your seat. That's where you'll be sitting. Just see where it says Q there?
Yeah. That's the new press box they built for the Grey Cup, and it will be a party here in Calgary. And boy, the way the Calgary Stampeders are playing early in this season, they're going to be the team to beat, it looks like.
Well, it's very early.
Absolutely.
And the Lions and the Stampeders will meet 2 more times, including at least one of those occasions at BC Place, where it won't be quite as easy.
Well, it was Calgary that came up with the last-second win last year inside a minute when Greg Mon saw the ball hit the turf out of Damon Allen's hands, and that was it for their run to the playoffs, or to the Grey Cup. Calgary was there.
3rd and inches for the Stampeders. Dickinson will have the first down. No flags anywhere.
But with the way these two teams dislike each other and the way that the two coaches, although they have respect for each other, dislike each other, you know that Greg Moss would love to come into Calgary and take a cup right here.
Oh, yeah. Right now, he'd settle for a couple of touchdowns right here.
No question. And it is early. There's a lot of football to be played, but boy, the Calgary Stampeders really look impressive.
Yeah. Little doubt these are the 2 best teams in the CFL West. I mean, there's no question about that. The Stampeders have really been dominant on defense tonight. On first down, Aubrey Cummings was the target. Dickinson felt a little heat.
That's another hit that Dave Dickinson has to take. That one from Eric England. And again, you wonder when Troy Kopp will be back in the game. Dickinson is banged up, has the hamstring problem, but is still in there. But every point is important. You mentioned that they'll play each other 2 more times. They are the 2 best teams in the West so far this season, and look like they will be. All those points could matter down the road when it comes down to who gets that home field game in the playoffs.
And that was the game that the BC Lions had last year in Calgary. Snuck into BC Place, as you mentioned, and stole one in the Western Final. Dickinson can't find anyone home.
He's going to run for a first.
Amazing. Bad ham and all. And that gets the crowd roaring just a little bit when your gimpy quarterback runs for about 12.
Well, first of all, the play was it was a screen pass to Kelvin Anderson. That
Look at him out there. He can hardly stand up.
He can barely walk. But David Benefield sniffed out the screen pass, and he was right beside Kelvin Anderson, so Dave Dickinson couldn't throw that one. Pitts was well covered downfield. He has been for most of the night by Derek Lewis, so now Dickinson had no other choice but to run, and there was no one there to tackle.
Looks like he's running better than he's walking out there. When he slows down, he's a little more lopsided. Kelvin Anderson tries the outside. Great burst of speed, a terrific hit there as he nailed Lewis.
Watch the block by Fred Childress. The big Chill gets outside and puts a pretty good block on one of the premier pass rushers in the league in Herman Smith. Watch the big Chill come outside. Here comes number 68 to the right of your screen. Watch it, bang, right there. Herman Smith stands straight up right there. And it was, whoa. Can't get back to recover to get Calvin Anderson. That's a lot of weight pushing on you.
11 yards there for Anderson.
333 bills.
Woo! Another first down for the Stampeders. Pitch to Anderson. Side over 1. Down inside the 15.
Travis Moore. Talk about physical. Travis Moore just put a huge hit. I believe it was on Derek Lewis. Whoa, baby, it was a crack block from the outside. To the right of your screen, it's going to be Travis Moore. Football is the most violent game in the world. Watch the hit right there. Look at this. Pow! Oh, baby. Oh! Derek Lewis will feel that tomorrow.
6 running plays, 1 passing play on this drive, and it continues with 2nd and 5 at the BC 15. Dickinson looks to the end zone. Touchdown!
Sure, yeah. Payday for the big hit.
Travis Moore.
Little payday. Oh.
And Old Blue's going to be a little tired by the time he gets to the barn tonight.
Well, back-to-back huge plays by Travis Moore. One that will be in the stats at the end of the game and one that won't. That one will make the stats. That's the touchdown catch. The one that won't be was the huge block that put Calvin Anderson in that area.
So he really set up his own touchdown, didn't he?
No question about it. A little payday. Little payday and pay dirt for Travis Moore.
McMahon Stadium is a great place to watch a football game.
Well, I think we should see some more and more. Let's see some more Travis Moore. There's the knockout punch on the block. Woo! That's the big hit that got Calvin Anderson down in scoring range. And then Travis Moore gets a little payday when he comes up with a post pattern and the touchdown catch right there. A little more.
Too much more.
Yeah.
Cunningham. Maybe his best return of the night. There are markers down near midfield.
Well, we talked about this being a heavyweight bout between the two teams in the West. There's the scoring drive, and Travis Moore just threw the knockout punch. Oh, boy, that was a huge hit on Lewis, and then the 15-yard catch, and that's all she wrote, baby.
Very efficient 8-play drive.
Think they're excited about their football team here in Calgary?
Well, they should be. This is a team playing extremely well. And this is a team that was down by 15 to the Blue Bombers in Winnipeg last week. Had to roar back to tie it. And then finally, Pitt's touchdown in overtime won it for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, it's amazing what a comeback will do for you like that. I mean, you come back like that and you believe in yourselves and you get that cohesion again on the team, and 10 new faces in the lineup for Calgary, so they had to get it together, and they have.
Yeah, Wally mentioned that at halftime, that overtime last week had a lot to do with the way his team started tonight, and that was very effectively on offense.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Winnipeg responds to that. They were the ones who obviously lost that game in overtime, and they'll play tomorrow night in Edmonton.
Second half of the Adidas Friday Night Football doubleheader from Commonwealth tomorrow night.
The injured player this time.
Boy, is this well, round 1 goes to Wally Buono in this Greg Mons and Wally Buono bout that's been going on for a couple years now.
Yeah, there's still 10:46 to go, so I mean, there is time for the Lions to come alive. I just don't get the feeling that they're about to do that. Here's Robert Drummond wrapped up after about 3 on first down.
Yeah, again, if they were moving the football throughout the game but still behind, you could say, well, it's far from over. In the CFL, 10 minutes is a long time. But the way this offense has struggled, and I'm going to give full credit to the Calgary defense. I mean, yes, there's been some execution problems for Greg Mons' offense, but I'll tell you something. That Calgary defense can cause you to have some execution problems when they're getting the penetration up front that they are getting in Joe Fleming, Shante Peoples, Traversy, and Jacob.
2nd and 6 for Damon and the Lions. Over the middle, they'll call it a catch. Rocky Henry.
Well, they need to get up and run the hurry up. It looks like Damon Allen is going to do that. I mean, there's still 10 minutes left, so they're definitely not going to lie down for the remaining 10 minutes. Plus, every point counts. We talked about that. Down the stretch, if they end up tied, it goes down to points.
First down for the Lions in the second half.
Whoa. They're coming off the edge. That time, it was Fleming and Shante Peoples, both with a good rush off the corner. And it really, they haven't sacked Damon Allen a whole bunch, but they've rushed him all game long.
They pressured him.
They've made him throw it when he didn't want to throw it. And sometimes that's all you need.
Second and 10 for the Lions. Allen may have to do it himself.
Oh,
and he's hammered.
Fumbled.
Ball squirted loose. Stampeders appear to have it. At least they're celebrating.
That looked just like the play that Damon Allen fumbled in the Western Final a year ago. It looked almost identical.
Stampeders are on a roll on home turf at McMahon. It's been a tough night for the Lions. 2 interceptions and then this.
Well, Mark Pilon gets the FF, the forced fumble. Good hustle to track down Allen and knock the ball out of there. And then Darryl Hall gets the FR, fumble recovery.
And that sets the Stampeders up at the 41 with a new man at the controls. It's Troy Kopp. Kopp's hammered to the turf. Cantor got through. Couple of sacks for the Lions.
Here's what Troy Kopp has done in his career. Was in Winnipeg last year, struggled there. Got a chance, came into training camp with a clean slate. That's what Wally Buono said to him. He said, listen, I don't care what has happened to you in the past. You're in our offense now. You're in our system. George Cortez is going to take you, and he's going to make you a good quarterback, and I'm sure he will.
And he won the second string job ahead of O.T. Sampson, who was released last week and ended up in Toronto. Mainly because he's a better passer. There's his first completion of 2000. Mark Boerichter has another reception.
Well, they're going to be just short, and it'll be interesting to see if Wally Buono decides to go or takes the point, or takes a field goal attempt. So they're about a yard. Now, on the field, they want him to go for it. You always want to go when you're out there on offense. And I think he will do that. They're not going to lose the game, but you wonder about whether or not points are going to be important if they don't get it.
Well, also get some time off the clock here, too, if you can keep this drive going.
Well, if you keep the, yeah, pretty much.
Right.
And work it down for another set of plays.
Might only be 3 anyway, and it may not be, but you can take a few ticks off the clock here.
Well, you know, and in fairness to the BC Lions defensively, they have played pretty well considering they've had some injuries they've had to overcome. Eric Carter didn't even make the trip. He's their starting all-star corner. They had to move Raphael Robinson to the corner. Robinson last year was a safety.
Brock Preston in the game with Anderson getting a bit of a rest, and he's got 6.
You know, Raphael Ball was out for a few plays, a few series. He was hurt. They had to move Ian Franklin to the corner. He's a backup defensive back. So they've had to make some adjustments in that BC Lions secondary, and obviously not giving any excuses to the Lions, who haven't played very well tonight. But Raphael Robinson was the leading tackler on the team last year, but it was a safety position that he played.
So now he's moved back into the middle, Robinson, as they made other adjustments out there.
Well, yeah, now they got Crum playing as well, Mike Crum.
Brock Preston.
And Mike Crum has been playing the corner for the last half a quarter anyway, and some injury problems in the secondary haven't made it easy for the BC Lions.
The biggest story, though, has been on offense, where they haven't been able to solve the defense.
That's right.
Of the Calgary Stampeders.
Oh, yeah, full credit to that Calgary defense, because on offense they have had all their guns. I'm talking about the Lions, and the Calgary defense has just made it look like the gun was full of blanks.
I think that's well said. Mark McLaughlin, good on 1 of 2 tonight. He's only missed 1 in the first 3 weeks of the season. This from 32 yards. Dead center. McLaughlin adds a few more to the Calgary Stampeders total. They are annihilating the Lions at McMahon tonight.
Not rocking in McMahon.
Nothing like when the home team's winning and they play YMCA at the football stadium, huh?
Could you do that, the YMCA thing? I could never get that right.
No.
I was just always like 2 letters behind.
Yeah, well, spelling has never been your forte.
No,
so.
it certainly isn't.
Spelling above your head is way over your head. Here's Robert Drummond for the BC Lions. And Drummond has a little bit on first down.
You get a chance to see Doug Nussmeier in the game for Damon Allen, give him a chance to get some reps, some time in the National Football League. Doug Nussmeier with the Saints, Broncos, Colts, and Bears.
He's a 29-year-old rookie, so I mean, that's not really rookie status in...
Oh, it's a great idea, though, to get him some reps. With 5 minutes left, he'll get a couple of series in this game. Chance to get out there when the bullets are flying for real.
2nd and 5. Nussmeier from the shotgun. He's a left-hander, and he's on the target. Mike Adams made the catch, and that'll be a first down for the BC Lions.
Well, we thought the Calgary Stampeders had to keep Dave Dickinson on his feet. We thought that they had to get Calvin Anderson going. They did that. They kept Dickinson on the feet for the most part. Wally Blano has executed that game plan pretty well.
Yeah, they really have.
That he put together.
That Wally put it together.
They executed it.
They executed it.
There we got it straight.
Yeah. Robert Drummond. Maybe his best run of the night. Well, only 6 yards. Looked like he was moving a little more quickly than that. Well, sometimes we have it absolutely figured out before the game starts, right?
What they need to do to win, is that what you're talking about? The keys to the game?
The keys to the game. Nussmeier. Got a little heat. Got away from the first wave. And he'll get a first down inside the 40. Nice burst of speed.
Well, you know, this is always the interesting part, because there's fans watching this back in Vancouver saying now, hey, look, Doug Nussmeier got in the game and moved the football right down the field. Why isn't he starting? You know, and again, you see the situation happen all the time. The backup quarterback comes in with 5-6 minutes left and a huge deficit, down 35-2. And he looks pretty good, but defensively, you're playing a little differently at this point.
Are the Stampeders backing up a little bit?
That's what
Are they laying off a little here?
Yeah, you're going to give you a little more room when you got this kind of lead.
35-2 is pretty comfortable. Nussmeier looks to the corner and missed by about 4 yards. Adams was the target again. 3:03 to go in the final quarter here at McMahon Stadium. And the Lions will be on a long plane ride home tomorrow. Tough night for Greg Mons and company. If you're just joining us and you see these two coaches, Wano on the left, Mons on the right, which one is winning?
Well, you really can't tell. You're looking at him. You can tell
stoic poses.
You can tell Greg Mons is unhappy. That's no question. But Wally doesn't look very happy, and he's way up.
Leading by 33. Nussmeier at the controls for the Lions. He has Rocky Henry, and there are flags everywhere.
Rocky Henry makes the catch. May have been a face mask.
Coleman made the tackle, and was there a little face mask action
there?
in there?
There may have been some yardage added on. Rocky Henry still battling.
I'm really quite surprised by the dominance of the Stampeders on both sides of the ball tonight.
Major foul, face mask, Calgary, number 44, first down.
Well, I certainly agree with you when it comes to their defense. I think they've been dominant on defense. Offensively, they've done enough to win.
Yeah, okay.
And they've done enough to put enough points on the board, capitalize on some mistakes, and played pretty well with the quarterback that was banged up early.
Well, Dickinson found a way to get it done.
That's exactly. Defensive coordinator Mike Roach had a good game plan ready for the BC Lions.
Lions are at the 14, deepest penetration of the ball game. Here's Robert Drummond, left side, Stampeders are still not giving much. Shante Peoples, number 56, had them all wrapped up.
Although I guess a defensive game plan becomes a little easier when you got guys like Shante Peoples and Joe Fleming in your lineup. And basically, you basically just say, okay, just line up and just go get the guy with the ball in his hands.
Well, with those two guys added in there.
Did you read that signal?
No, I missed it.
It was a hard one to decipher. I think Shante Peoples is going to bunt.
Nussmeier looks for his first touchdown toss. He won't get it, but he does have a completion to Jason Crum. I started to say that Joe Fleming and Shante Peoples have made everybody along that defensive line better. And I think overall made everybody on defense a little more solid as well.
Well, yeah, and then, you know, guys we don't talk about or haven't throughout this game is Darryl Hall and Alondra Johnson back there, two veterans who are quietly really putting together a good year early in week 3, playing solid, especially Darryl Hall.
Might as well go gunning for it here.
Got a newcomer on the corner, and Anthony Pryor. We haven't talked about him, which means he hasn't been beat.
3rd and 5. Lions are trying to hit the end zone for the first time tonight. And that pass was into the dirt. Jack Kellogg was there covering. And Nussmeier hurried it a bit and fired it low. And outside.
Yeah, and that's just all it was. It was just a throw that was down in the dirt and not really catchable for Rocky Henry. Timing pass to the inside, and he just threw it down low, although it looked like he did get at least one hand on it. They say if you can touch it, you can catch it, but that was a little tough. Down in the feet behind him.
So the Lions will host the Eskimos next week. And Calgary will travel to Saskatchewan.
Well, you know one thing, that the Lions or the Calgary Stampeders aren't likely going to go undefeated throughout the season. They play each other 2 more times. Greg Mons will get another crack.
And other teams will get better.
Sure.
I was decently impressed by the Rough Riders against BC last week. And although I didn't see that game, the Blue Bombers are improved offensively, at least in what they did by taking Calgary to overtime and then matching them field goal for field goal.
Yeah, well, they have a lot of weapons on offense with Milt Stegall there. And
into the final 2 minutes as the Stampeders just want to finish this off without getting anybody hurt. We'll give the game ball tonight to Travis Moore. 3 catches, 79 yards, 1 touchdown. Also set up a touchdown, but then there was the block.
Well, you know, and I think that's where he got the nod when the committee was thinking about who would the Adidas game ball go to. He got the nod with the big hit on Bo Lewis. When he sprung Kelvin Anderson for about a 12-yard gain, set up his touchdown, but what a block it was.
Bo Richter, he's got speed, we've told you that. He's got size, and he can catch.
Well, here's what we thought would have to happen for Calgary to win. Carry on, Kelvin. That's a better outing for Kelvin Anderson, so we'll give ourselves that one. Pitcher perfect. Well,
I think we blew this one.
Yeah, we didn't get that one. Pitts had a quiet night, but listen, if Alan Pitts is not going, you just got to get more and more. And they survived round 1 of this battle between the BC Lions.
So we're 2 out of 3. 66% won't get you into university, but it'll get you out of high school, right? Brock Preston running out a little extra time.
It won't get you into university unless you play on the football team, because then the coaches come down and they can help out on the transcripts occasionally.
Yeah, they can bump that to 70 if you can catch or if you can run.
Exactly. Well, we thought the Lions to win this game, they'd have to get after Dave Dickinson. Had their first 2 sacks of the year, but not nearly enough. Win round 1. They got behind early, 7-0 to start the game, so they didn't do that.
And they didn't do this. They didn't survive.
They got voted off the island.
Out of here.
Well, I don't know about you, John, but my favorite play of this whole game was delivered thanks to Travis Moore on a little run here by Calvin Anderson. We got to show it to you one more time, and just, it is, look at this. Whoa, watch this. Hello, whoa, see that head snap back there? Football is a collision sport.
Yeah, and then Moore went in for the touchdown on that same sequence.
Hockey is a contact sport. Football is a collision sport. That was a collision.
Stampeders have 27 seconds to erase from the clock.
Right ahead. Bulls ahead for 3.
Well, he throws the big block. That was Travis Moore. You just saw that one, and he got the Adidas game ball for that block and this catch and a couple others along the way, including the one that got the Calgary Stampeders started in the first period, in the first quarter.
He set up their first touchdown down at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, 44-yarder to start the game. That was that long one. That got him going and finished it off in style.
Stampeders unbeaten in 3. BC Lions suffer their first defeats of 2000. And it's not so much that the Stampeders dominated on home turf, but they really overwhelmed the BC Lions here tonight.
Well, you know what it is, too, and it's an eye-opener for the BC Lions. I think it is anyway, because they look at this now and they say, we can't come back from behind against a team like the Calgary Stampeders.
So the Vice President of Communications, Ron Rook, down there on the sidelines before the game, he said, we'll win by 17. I said, no way, this is going to be close. Well, he was out a little bit. They won by 33. So Wally has coaching victory number 130. Greg Mons has to smile and suck it up and wait for them next time.
Now 5-2 all time against Wally.
A little revenge for Wally Bueno. Big night for Travis Moore. We love the way he played this game at McMahon Stadium tonight.
Welcome back to TSN CFL Control. Chris Schultz promised a tight game, and once again, he lied to us blatantly. It was all Calgary on this night. You know, the guys gave Travis Moore the game ball on that end, but we kind of differed in here. We thought it was a standout defensive effort, and the guy who keyed it was Joe Fleming. Joe, it's been a long time since I've seen a defensive effort that good, considering all the weapons that BC has. To hold them to 2 singles is unbelievable.
Thank you very much. It was a great night by our defense. I mean, we just played as hard as we could and made big plays when we needed to and forced them to throw the ball.
Joe, Eric Tillman, I know in the offseason you had a tough decision to make. Obviously, you were happy in Winnipeg, but this has to be the reason that you came to Calgary, to play for a big-time winner.
This is exactly the reason. This is unbelievable experience for me. 3-0. I don't think I've been 3-0 up here. And, you know, I just love the guys on this team. They work their tails off every week, and we have great coaching, and guys are just playing hard.
Joe, Matt Dunnigan here. Congratulations on a great performance.
Thanks,
you
Matt.
joined people like Traversy, you know, the importance of Shante Peoples coming back, and you've got Pillion there, you've got Jacobs. You know, rate this group that you play with amongst the others that you've been with over the years.
This is as good a group that I've ever been with, and these guys, again, we just work hard, and we're not the most talented group, but we're just playing our tails off. And you know, having Shante outside of me has been a pleasure, because he's such a devastating pass rusher from the edge, and Ray Jacobs from the other side, and our 2 nose guards do a great job pushing the pocket. So it's been a great group to work with.
Hey, Joe, Chris Schultz here. Talk to me about early in the football game, because to me, you guys were really ready to go. In the locker room before the game, the mentality, the emotion of the game, that really transferred onto that first quarter extremely well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you could hear a pin drop in that room. It was great. You knew everybody was ready to play. And I think we had a little redemption to do for last week. We didn't play a good football game. And, you know, you got to give credit to Winnipeg. They played hard, but we're a better team than we showed last week.
Joe, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Joe Fleming of the 3-0 and on top of the West Calgary Stampeders, who absolutely destroyed the BC Lions tonight on both ends of the ball. 35-2 the final in this one. Fleming all over Damon Allen all night long, and his Stamps cruise to an easy victory. More coming up.